If you were to start with a blank sheet of paper and create a third millennial law firm or a legal department for a company, would it look like yours? That's my first question. And the reason why I put that question to you is this, that history shows the companies that, or organizations that consistently give the answer no to this question are usually toast in quite a short period of time. Maybe a brand new entrant, especially right now with deregulation, comes in without any history, with a blank sheet of paper, and starts to reinvent the model. Now, as I say, an awful lot of legal practice will remain unchanged, so we need to be careful before we get ourselves too panicked. But every issue in law is related to every other issue when it comes to running a legal firm. Every issue for your clients is related to every other issue because we are whole people, we operate in whole societies, and I'm going to make us think a little bit about managing uncertainty. Many of your corporate clients have to face extraordinary uncertainties at the moment, the like of which our world has quite frankly never seen. Now let me just ask your opinion about this question. Put your hands up if you think that Greece may be forced out of the euro in the next 5 years. That's most of you. Put your hands up if you think that if Greece leaves the euro, there will be further great pressures by speculators to force Spain or Italy out as well. Put your hands up. So most of you are predicting a profound instability within the European Union, which is likely to last at least a decade, and it affects all of your clients. Stuff happens. We live in a very, very complicated world. We live in a world where we have, it's not just Greece, we think of what's happening the other side of the world, in the United States, where the Federal Reserve has committed to printing $40 billion every single month forever, until they think that unemployment has come down sufficiently much, which probably means half what it is today. Does it matter? Well, these things affect the wider environment in which legal services are being transformed. In the UK, of course, we are doing something similar. We have already printed enough pound notes in the last few months to buy 1/3 of our entire national debt. Does it matter? Yes, it might. And at the same time, we have the European Union that is refusing to print, or doesn't want to print, because of its history. The European Union was created to prevent a Third World War, a Fourth World War, 25 years between the First World War and the Second World War starting. We should be on our Third or Fourth World War by now, so in fact the European Union has been very successful in preventing global conflict. But at the root of it, in Germany we have an emotional reaction to printing money because in the 1920s they were bankrupted because of the debt from the First World War. They printed a huge amount of money, which meant that every family in Germany remembers pictures like this. What I wanted to understand is that while we may think the future of law is about rational things and logical issues, I want to suggest to you that the future of law, the decisions that will be made about who comes to you and who doesn't, about whether Tesco takes your business or whether they don't, will not just be based on economic logic or other facts, will be based on one very important factor, which is driving all of the future, this single word. And we see that word being played out as we think about technology. Technology getting larger and smaller. I want to come to the impact of new technologies on your business and on your organization and your relationships in a moment. But here is an interesting thing. We have the technology now to connect a mobile directly to your brain. We can insert chips inside your head and grow your own brain tissue over it. In fact, your brain is genetically programmed to recognize chips. If we take some of your brain cells and we grow them in solution and we wash them onto the surface of a chip which is carefully prepared, then these brain cells will start to grow new branches to connect with other brain cells and also onto the surface of a chip. We have these biodigital devices already inserted into the brains of mice and rats. They are sending thoughts using wireless communication from New York to Singapore, from Singapore to London, from one laboratory to another. It's part of a new world. I mean, the idea of actually, typing on a computer is so last century. But here's a question I have for you. Put your hands up if you would like to have such a biodigital chip inside your own head. Put your hands up if you are absolutely certain that you do not want such a chip inside your head or your children's heads. Put your hands up. Okay. Now, we understand from this that the future is not actually about economics. It's not actually about politics. It's not actually even about the laws which are passed by government. If you want to know the future of laws passed by government, they will be driven by something else. The future is certainly not about innovation. You've showed me that. It's not about technology. It's about the passions that we feel. It's about what we want. It's about the connection that the human spirit has with the world in which we live. Because you have just seen a piece of innovation which is never going to see the light of day if you have anything to do with it. The future of Greece being in or out of the euro will be linked in part to an emotional reaction. Whether the European Union will print money and get its way out of crisis with a stimulus will be linked in part to an emotional reaction to printing money in the past. Every law that is passed in our world today is passed in a democracy by populists who are politicians, and all politicians have to answer to the electorate. So every regulation is based on a connection with what they consider to be the public mood in the past, present, and most importantly in the future. Therefore, every law and regulation is linked to emotion, to perception, to mood, and we need to consider these things if we're going to understand the future of law. And you need no convincing about the fact that every lawyer's business is linked to only one word, and that's trust. Of course, it's the relationship we have, it's that emotional bond that we have that is your best defense against some of this avalanche of threats that I'm going to show you in a moment. It's the preservation of that primary relationship when you look into the client's eyes and you say, I'm going to give you some advice, which may be different from many of the other firms in this area, and may be different perhaps from what you're expecting. But knowing you as I do, and having known you, my friend, for at least 20 years, I'm absolutely convinced that this actually is the best advice for you. And it's that kind of insight, it's more than advice, which can be seen online anyway, but it's insight, true insight, that helps to go beyond the client's own perception of themselves and help them to understand what is absolutely the right thing for them, for their business, for their family, for their firm, for their children. Now there we have something which can't be commoditized and is of enormous value for the future, and of course it's linked to emotion.